Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Learn the Latest Innovations in Solar Mounting Systems. I'm Kelsey Misbrenner, editor with Solar Power World. Before we begin, we wanted to let you know about our application widgets at the bottom of your screen. You can move and resize them however you'd like. Slides are available to view at any time via the resource widget. Submit any questions related to today's webinar via the Q&A widget. Our presenters will send answers afterward to the email you used to sign up for today's webinar. We encourage you to tweet with us. Simply sign in through the Twitter box and use today's hashtag, which will automatically be added to your tweets. And finally, if you're watching this on demand, you can still use all the features I went over. Let's get started with today's webinar, Learn the Latest Innovations in Solar Mounting Systems. Today's speakers are Brandon Gwinner and Roland Jasmin. Brandon was recently promoted to Senior Account Executive at Sunmoto. He's responsible for developing and implementing Sunmoto's distribution and sales strategies in the West region. Roland Jasmin joined Sunmoto in August of 2015. He's responsible for project management, product design, document control, and product certification. He has a diverse background in product development with over 30 years of product design experience in a wide variety of industries. And now I'll turn it over to Brandon.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. Hello, everybody, and good day. Let's talk a little bit about the Sunmoto story. So we were founded in 2008. The name Sunmoto is kind of cool. It's a hybrid Spanish-English translation, meaning the way of the sun. We're in beautiful Vancouver, Washington, our HQ, right across from Portland, Oregon, very close to the PDX International Airport, hop, skip, and a jump. With a culture of innovation, 15 patents and growing, and I think actually as we speak, we are getting close to 20, believe it or not, with a complete line of racking solutions for roof and ground, with a mission to drive down the total cost of solar systems. That's the number one thing, bring down the labor cost, total cost of racking and solar systems, with a vision to accelerate the adoption of affordable clean energy technologies right across the globe. Today, we're going to go over the Easy Roof Mount Kit for both rafter and decking applications, top tile mount, the first PV mounting system that is mounted entirely above the tile. This is very cool. The Easy Sunbeam system for flat roofs, ground mounts, and more. Our new SunShield awning system, as well as the SunDock rail-free anchor system with universal mid and end clamp. These are all very innovative products, and we're going to go into all of these today with you. For pitched roof racking, let's just jump right into our bread and butter product. This is the Easy Roof Mount Kit flashing for comp roofs. You'll see on the left side photo, that's a direct to L foot. The right side photo is a standoff, which we do have multiple sizes. We stock a 2 and a 5 inch, but we can go all the way up to 11 custom order. Very easy to install. I'll tell you too, we've made some refinements over time. This is like a 5th generation just based on feedback from folks like you out in the field up on the roof. We had sharp corners to begin with on the flashing. We got the feedback to round those off so guys aren't cutting their hands or ripping tar paper. And we've extended the threaded post on the shoe, a little more thread grab. Also, there's 4 water leak prevention aspects to the flashing. You can see the innovative teardrop shape on top of the flashing that will divert water. We've got your insurance policy of silicon sealant in the pilot hole, an EPDM gasket that's underneath the flashing, never sees the light of day. And then also the hex cap or the standoff is going to work kind of like a counter flashing. Very few components, and they're big components. They're glove friendly in those cold climate, cold environments where you're going to be wearing gloves. You're not going to be fumbling around with small pieces. And we are ICC certified for either a single lag or 4 decking screws right into the decking, 1/2 inch plywood minimum requirement.
Hi everyone, this is Roland, and I'd like to do a deep dive into some more of the technical aspects of our product. So here we have our flashing, and since this webinar is about innovation, the thing that I'll point out are the innovative things about all of the products that you'll see today. So we have our flashing, which is a 10 by 12.5. The innovative feature here is that teardrop design that Brandon brought up before. This is a raised or an embossed feature that's 8 millimeters tall. This diverts water around that penetration and not over the penetration. The other part of the shoe kit that you'll receive is the aluminum cast piece that you see there, the large round piece. One of the nice things about a cast aluminum part is that you're able to pile in a lot of design features into a low cost-effective component. This way we share the cost-reduced features and items with you, our customers. Down the center of that roof shoe is where the lag bolt would go for the conventional mounting. You hit the rafter and you make the mount. On the outside of that post is an M20 threaded feature, and that's what the cap will thread onto. We have the gland for the sealing washer. You can see the sealing washer just above there in the photograph. And then we have what's really cool and what's really innovative. These are the 4 recessed holes. We have the OMG screws there to the right that go into those holes. So when you can't find that rafter, you can use the decking option without any fuss or muss.
And just want to add with the innovation of that sealing washer, the reason why it's recessed into that shoe is so you cannot over compress that gasket. As you know, you can over compress EPDM and it's going to tweak and twist on you. This is set to where once you torque down the flashing hex cap, it'll compress that EPDM right to the sweet spot.
And one of the other nice things about that whole design is that it's a gorgeous design once you leave the roof. That hex cap is a cool feature, and it's one of the things that you can see after the install is done. I've talked to installers, they say that's what they like best about our product, is that it looks cool when it's done.
It's clean.
Anyway, moving on to best practices. In our installation manual, you'll find these 2 diagrams. To the left is the flashing placement. I won't go through that in detail with this particular webinar, but what I do want to point out is the innovation that is shown to the right. So to the right, we talk about the sealant. Traditionally, when you apply sealant to a flashing, you would put the upside down U on the bottom of the flashing and then slide it into place. Well, what we have found is that that's not best practice. What happens is that capillary forces will bring water up through those 2 parallel surfaces, the roof plane and the bottom of the flashing, gathering the water at the top of that U, pooling it, and then eventually forming droplets that would go directly down into or towards your penetration. So this is not the best practice. What you want to do is what we've outlined here. On the bottom of the flashing, you want to have 2 vertical beads of sealant, and then on the top of the flashing, you want to have 1 horizontal bead. This way, you'll keep the shingles attached to the flashing on top and bottom, giving you the best protection and the least amount of water that will come towards that penetration.
Here we go, a top tile mount. This is a new product for us. We have had some installs. Very cool now. This is no tile lifting. There's going to be less breakage. There's no grinding of the tiles. The entire installation is done above the roof without removing any tiles. So we do have a couple different offerings. There's a 5-inch and a 7-inch standoff, as well as a truss attachment, which you see on the left, and then a decking attachment on the right. And on the right side, inside the orange box, you can see some more detail of the different attachment methods with the flashing. It is a hand formable flashing, so you just go above your workspace, whether it be flat tile, S tile, W tile, form it to the exact tile size, and then bring it back down to your work area, slide it in, and it's going to be a perfect fit. Some feedback on some current installs that we've done in Utah with one of our installers over there. They said it was about half the time for a tile install. That's
huge.
Huge.
So doing a deep dive into the top tile mount. There on the left, you see the tripod mount. This is what we call that stanchion. We have 3 counterbore holes in that stanchion, and those 3 counterbore holes are accessible above the tile line. So you'll drill a hole into the tile, and you'll put the stanchion into that hole, and then you'll screw it into the decking. On the bottom of the stanchion, there's a washer and an EPDM gasket. This is to make sure that as you're tightening up that stanchion, that you're not tearing up the paper along the way. So once you've secured the stanchion into the hole, you come in with your 3 number 14 wood screws. You screw it right on in, and you're done. One of the other products that we have and that Brandon mentioned before is the rafter mount version of the top tile mount. So when you're dealing with mostly flat roofs, you're able to find those rafters, and this would be the stanchion of choice. It's a lower cost option, so whenever you can find the rafters, this is what you want to use. We were showing this product to our friends in Puerto Rico and as well as some of our customers south of the border, and they said, well, this is fine and good for the U.S. and the way the U.S. constructs their buildings, but for us, what we have are the concrete slabs underneath the tile. So do you have a product that can work for us? This being our innovative webinar, we want to show you how smart engineering is. We said, yes, we can come up with something that will work for you. And what we came up with is that exploded view there to the right. This shows an anchor bolt or expansion anchor that can be screwed into the bottom of the stanchion, and then you would install it the same way you would install the rafter mount. You would cut the hole in the tile, you drill the hole in your concrete, and then you would install your expansion anchor. And as Brandon pointed out, we have our flashing. This flashing is nice and soft. It will comply to whatever curvature you may be facing. It's really simple to install, really simple to form. It's hand moldable. We have this EPDM boot that goes around the stanchion, and that's to keep the water out. For our friends south of the border or in Puerto Rico, they were saying, well, since we have the concrete slabs and we cement the tiles together, there's no way for us to put this flashing underneath. So what do we do about that? And we told them it is very acceptable and very easy to cut this flashing and install it just as you would any other flashing. When we look at best practices, the innovative part of this design and the thing that I want to point out is that green block there where it's the correct position. You can see that we have 3 holes above the tile line, and we have the boot for the EPDM gasket right around the round portion of that stanchion. That is the correct way that would give you the easiest installation and the best water protection. As we move over to the right, we have the acceptable method where it's a little tall and the counterboard holes are exposed. We go back and we do a fill with foam for that anyway, so water won't penetrate in, but it won't look as nice either. Finally, the incorrect way to install this product is to have that stanchion so low that on the flat surfaces where you would apply your wrench to turn the stanchion, if those flat surfaces are on the round portion of that EPDM boot, then you wouldn't get a seal. You'd actually have water penetrating into that hole, and that's incorrect and unacceptable. We do have ways to solve that if you find yourself in a situation where I have to put the stanchion in this location and it doesn't stick out the way that you recommended. We have a spacer, a 1-inch spacer, and we offer 2 different stanchion heights. We have a 5-inch and a 7-inch high. So if you were to buy a 5-inch stanchion at a 1-inch spacer, that would give you 6-inch height. And same thing would be true with the 7-inch stanchion. Adding a 1-inch spacer would give you an 8-inch height. So we have some flexibility. If you're on the roof and you run into a jam and you need to get out of that jam, we can help you in that regard. This product is very flexible.
While we're kind of talking about the installation method and you have the side view that you're looking at, the installation really is just cutting a 1.5-inch hole through the tile. The trick is a very sharp cutting bit and keeping water on that tile the whole time that you're cutting it. But that's really it. Once you get that 1.5-inch hole, we've gone over pretty much the whole installation process. It is very fast.
But all this information and the entire installation manual is found on our website.
Absolutely. So here we are with our newest innovative product, and this is a rail profile, the HR150. We call this our open channel rail, and that's the innovation behind it. There's no more zip ties, there's no more cable ties. You've got these channel clips, and you can see there the rail splice location is going to help contain the wire management as well. But this rail is completely ready to go for wire management. You tuck all that rail right inside the channel. The two HR150 rails are spliced together with the HR150 rail splice. PV electrical wires are shown routed through the channels of the HR150, retained with 2 wire covers snapped into place. So that's it. It's very easy to install, quick, simple, clean. This is UL 2703, good to go. You can see here we have a rail selection chart. This is just a quick reference chart, innovative once again to make things easy on the installer, the folks out there that want to select the right rail for the right load conditions. You go into this chart, you're going to be able to see you've got your snow and PSF, you've got your wind in miles per hour, whatever load conditions you have, go along the line, and you'll see that our HR150 rail right out the gate can handle any snow and wind load combination at 4 foot. So 4 foot on center, you're good to go. But we can also get up to 8 foot with our lightest duty rail. So we can also get up to 12 feet with our heaviest rail. Our rail span charts are also online, stamped for the engineers. They're going to want to go back and look at those stamp charts. But this is just a really nice, quick reference chart right here.
Right. Very innovative, very easy to read. As you read this chart, you have your HR150, which is in the light green. As you move over to the 250, the 250 in the darker shade would encompass that plus everything to the left. So it would encompass the HR250 and the 150 as far as the spans are concerned. And then the same is true with the HR350 in the darker green. It would encompass everything to the left as well. So as you select your rail, you'll select for performance, and you know that it will cover smallest to its limit as shown here in the chart.
That's well said. And to add to that, maybe you only want to carry one SKU of rail that can handle multiple considerations, multiple load scenarios.
Exactly.
Flat roof racking. Here we go. Let's get into some innovations here with flat roofs. So the Easy Sunbeam. This is a very popular product for Sunmoto. It's a big-time differentiator for racking out there. This is really going to maximize roof space when you've got a flat roof, but there's also a lot of clutter and obstructions up there where other racking just would not be able to get the power density and energy density that you want up there in terms of module counts. We get you up above. We're going to get you right up above any HVAC, piping, venting, whatever it may be. This system goes right up above. It's very versatile, adjustable, scalable. Any size system. We can have multiple tilts in the same system. You can go portrait, landscape. We're talking about 30 to 50% more KW on cluttered roofs with tall parapets. This is the best long-term value and performance. So upfront costs, the racking might be a little more, but if we're talking about roof penetrations as well, if you're going to have your roofer come back and seal you up, this is going to be about 4x less penetrations than any single row tilt-up or any other positive attachment system out there. It's also going to provide shade for those AC units. Roland and I were talking about this before. When you're covering these AC units and they're already shaded, it takes a lot less energy to start creating a cooling effect out of that AC unit.
Right, they'll run more efficiently.
So you'll see on the bottom these three boxes, kind of some design shots. This is a system that was done in Hawaii on the right-hand side. It's, 4 to 5 degree tilt just to keep the rain from pooling, but we're maximizing roof space. Here it is, kind of taking a look at all the components. You've got the post cap lower left. There's the SB2500. It's our Sunbeam. The pipe clamp kit, which is a two-piece, so you can attach your bracing at any point in time during the install. It's not like the old days where you had the slider one piece, and if you forgot to put them on, you had to disassemble your system, put your bracing on any point in time. The angle mount kit, that's what's going to connect your north to south rail on those horizontals, and our solid base and aluminum posts. We have 2-inch and 2.5-inch fittings. And just to kind of talk a little bit about the post cap and the angle mount kit. So on that Sunbeam, there are two 3/8 channels, top and bottom. So you have all that slide adjustability east to west, top and bottom. There's no elbow T-couplers where you've got to make sure everything's dead on. Otherwise, you're too short or too long on your horizontals. This has all the adjustability you would ever want for a system. Flat roof commercial.
Right, so I admit Sunbeam is a cool system and I really like it, but we're here to talk about innovation.
Okay.
So as Brandon and I have done webinars before, we've always talked about the Sunbeam system, and we've talked about our rail, but we've never focused on the I-beams. And the I-beams are what have truly been the innovative portion of the growth of the Sunbeam system. The first image there is of the SB2500. That's our Sunbeam I-beam. This is where the product gets its name, and it spans up to 12 feet. We have our SB3500 and SB5000. The SB3500 is our triangular beam, hence that shape, it gets its name. It spans up to 25 feet. For the SB5000, the box beam, it spans 35 plus feet. This is the new innovation. This guy can go as far as your structural engineer says it can.
Yeah, and in some situations, that's all you can do. I know there's some systems we've done in Hawaii, 27-foot spans, 30-foot spans, and this is the beam that can handle it. I haven't seen much out there that can handle it to that type of spans.
Right, and the thing that enables those spans and longer spans are the splices. The first splice that we're showing here is for the Sunbeam system, the SB2500. This is your 2703 compliant splice. This splice is not a structural splice, but it's intended to make sure that you continue your bonding and proper grounding. This will make sure that the system looks like one system from an electrical point of view. The other two splices are structural splices, and this is why we're able to span much farther with fewer platforms to hold up the beam itself. When we look at these, there's a practical matter when it comes to delivering long spans. If you said, hey, my structural engineer says I can do a 50-foot span with my configuration, we said, great, but there's no way practically we could deliver a single 50-foot span. So what we would do is probably deliver 3 segments and 2 splices. And that way you can field install it right there and do your span.
Yeah, and with those splices being structural, that's how you can make up those big spans.
Exactly. So another innovation, and this is kind of cool. We have carports. We said, hey, if you don't have rooftop available, then why not your driveway? With our first carport that we designed, it was a single bay carport, but then we had a customer in New York who wanted to do some grilling on his rooftop, and he wanted solar and he wanted shade. And he says, is there a way that you can deliver me a canopy system that meets those requirements? And we says, yes, since engineering is pretty clever, we says we can roof mount this thing. So now we're offering this as a dual purpose depending on the customer's need. You can go either rooftop canopy or you can go a single bay carport with this one kit that has been designed for that purpose. As we look at the image to the upper right, this is our residential carport, and this is a 2-bay carport. As you can see with this design, the spans are a little longer, and we also have the attachments to the residence there in the upper right-hand corner, the 3 beams that extend their attachments that you could anchor it to the home as well as to the ground. And then finally on this slide, we have a commercial application. And with this commercial application for carports, we provide everything above those vertical posts. So the commercial installer would install his post and then mount the Sunbeam product on top of that. We provide all the anchors, all the beams, everything above those vertical lines.
Yeah, and as part of this, the innovation and value to carports, we know the popularity of EV vehicles and EV charging stations. That's all part of these fantastic systems for carports.
And what we want to show here was that we've actually installed some of these. So they start out as one-off ideas, and as we have multiple requests for these ideas, we turn them into products. And here in Hawaii, you can see the box beam running long spans and cars parked underneath. They're getting the shade and generating energy. It's a win-win. In the right-hand picture, we have a carport, dual carport, and that's in Aruba. This is using our triangular beam for that particular system. So we want to propagate the use of solar worldwide, and the proof is in the pudding. We have installs all around the world.
So with the Easy Sunbeam family, you're going to be able to find some information within some featured articles by Solar Power World and Solar Builder. You can find those on our website and just gain a little bit more knowledge on the systems and get some testimonials from these articles.
Yeah, and I think with the innovations that we're showing today, we'll have more interviews to talk about our product. It's old, but it's new again because we continue to renew it with new innovations, new designs, new applications, new deployments. This is a cool system, but we're not done.
We're not done. Because this also transfers over to our ground mount racking. You can see some beautiful photos down there. I recognize each and every one of these projects. Lower right's in Seattle, the center one's in the Hood River Gorge, and the left is the Country Village Estates. Beautiful systems, all different types of applications, which we're going to go into, because we do offer a post and concrete, which is standard. We've got earth anchors and ground screws, as well as eco-block and ballast foundations. So 3 different offerings for this complete ground mount system. Basically, it's all the same components that we were just looking at for that flat roof application. Only difference is now we're going to go with steel posts, and we'd also be using some steel post bases if we were going into a ballast scenario, with configurations going from 10 to 50 degrees, 2 to 5 up, portrait, landscape, whatever you want to do, with modules removed if it's a string size issue, all UL 2703 compliant. Once again, adjustable, scalable, repeatable. It's all there. There's so much adjustment within this system. A friend of mine in Seattle said this is his favorite ground mount system just because the adjustability factor. Not to mention it is super robust. Standalone structurally, the ground mount system will handle any load conditions without modules. There's some systems out there where the modules actually help make up part of the structural. Not with this one. This thing is bulletproof, rock solid, really works well in Hawaii and high wind load scenarios to keep in mind. Here are the different foundation options. Upper left, on the left-hand side, mounting options, you'll see the typical post and concrete. Just below that, that's going to be the eco block, ballast block scenario. And the one on the right is some helical augers. And then auger standards, that's just showing some different sizes of ground screws and augers, and also some extensions. If you needed to drive in your augers and ground screws a little deeper than normal, maybe you're in a sandy or loamy environment and you just need to go a little bit deeper, we can add extensions to it, and then you just attach back to that head drive unit and continue to drive it into the earth. So we'll see here, here's an installation going on, the groundwater project. It's a two-man operation. You've got one guy on the sticks and the bobcat. You've got another guy with a bubble level up against the auger to make sure he's driving it in nice and straight. You can see the ProDig head drive unit, the yellow unit attached to the bobcat that's doing all the work. And they've got a string line, and that's how they know how far to drive in these augers. And it's very quick, easy, simple. Once you get rolling with this type of installation, it's very fast because, and I'll say this too, there's no excavation, there's no concrete pour, there's no mess, there's no cleanup. Very simple installation.
Right, and if you've never done this before and you're curious about it, we do have white paper on our website. So you can go there, you can read up on it, you can get tips and tricks. And as Brandon said, this is pretty straightforward, pretty simple to install.
And now we're going to look at the EcoBlock and pour in place scenario. So on the left-hand side, these are EcoBlocks. If you haven't heard of EcoBlocks, it's short for Ecology Block. It's basically all recycled materials. So with that said, all recycled materials just means a low-cost piece. I've heard these in the range of $20 each, but then it's logistics, right, Roland? I mean, you can source these EcoBlocks on the cheap, but then you got to have the right truck, how to place them. You've put the orange spray paint in the locations where you want the blocks. That's going to go real smooth. You'll see on the right-hand side, this is a pour in place. This was in Eugene, Oregon. So they had kind of a tough landscape. They did this 3x9 in portrait going with the slope of the earth and just graded the earth for the foundations. They built their own forms, set the posts while the mud was wet, and then here you are, a nice, beautiful result. SunShield awning system. This is also a very new product for us here at Sunmoto. The SunShield awning system comes pre-kitted. This is a folded triangular design, so they're going to come folded into one another. You unfold it into a triangle, set your hardware, and then now you've created a triangular truss. This is going to work for 60 and 72 cell modules. You're basically just going to attach this to the side of any structure. Structural engineering will dictate the frequency of attachments of the trusses and the attachment method of the hardware that's going to be selected. This system is going to offer some fantastic shading for your building, for front windows or the front door. It's also keeping the solar panels a lot cooler, more efficient with all that airflow underneath and above the modules, keeping those modules running just as efficient as possible.
That is correct. But wait, there's more. So we have our standard awning product that you're able to buy, but we also do custom canopy designs. This custom canopy that you're looking at happens to be on the Sunmoto building. If you look really close at that first image there through the reflection of the glass, you can see our Sunmoto logo. So that's our front door here in beautiful Vancouver, Washington. The upper right photo is the southern-facing surface of the building with the canopy, and then the one on the bottom is the wall that faces west. So all through the day, we are generating energy here at Sunmoto.
Yeah, and indeed, and we just had our open house, and we flipped the switch that day, and we are producing power.
Yeah, so one of the nice things about that design and all the designs that we want to work with architects early on in the projects. So if they have a look that they want to provide to a building, we are there to develop a product that will work for them. We've done it for our own building, and we want to do it for you.
Just like this deck application, Roland.
Yeah, this was a different one as well. And this shows the flexibility of our product. So the homeowner here has plenty of surface area on his roof to put solar on the rooftop. But he wanted more than that. He says, if I could have shading on my deck, then I would basically be able to extend my living space. So on those hot summer days, I can generate power and I can stay cool. He says, do you have a product for that? And we said, yes, we do. So here at Sunmoto, if you have an interesting idea, a different application for solar installation, come to us, talk to us. Our products are flexible enough that without too much fuss or muss, we can make it happen for you.
Yeah, if you've got a real head scratcher, somebody drew something up on a napkin, share it with us. We'll come up with a solution. Oh, innovation. Roland, here it is. The SunDock rail-free anchor system. I'm going to let you take it from here, Roland.
Okay, so this system is a pretty cool system, and it's new for us. We'll go over some of the key features. We could talk about this one product for an hour. Believe me, I've done it before, but we're going to quickly go through the features for this particular product. The best thing I feel about this product is that it has the universal in-clamp and mid-clamp. So when you order this product, this railless system, you order the kit that you need, whether in-clamp or mid-clamp, and there's nothing else that you need. It's all there. It comes completely assembled, everything's together. One of the nice things in installing it, and there are many nice things about installing this particular product, is that we have the snap-in panel feature, and this is for the downslope panel edge. We'll show you a bit more detail about that feature in a couple of slides that are coming up. And we have the post-module assembly leveling feature. So after those modules are on and one looks a little lower than the rest, you're able to go in there and level those modules or that particular module after all is said and done. We have the northeast adjustability to make sure that everything is lined up, the front edges are lined up on the roof line. What's really cool about this is that all the hardware is Q20 stainless steel, which means it's one hardware set, one tool to the installer. This makes you a lot faster, a lot more efficient on the roof. Our goal at Sunmoto is to get you on and off that roof as quickly as possible. We know that the labor component is the major component to the install, so we want to make your job real easy, real fast. We also have in this design wire management as well as a place to mount your microcontroller and your grounding. You don't have to mount the microcontroller on the panel. You can mount it on the railless system, since a lot of installers are used to mounting the microcontroller on the rail. They want to continue by mounting it on the railless system. We offer a leading edge skirt. This is optional, so it gives you that finished look as you walk away from the project. Everything looks nice and neat. And of course, this is designed to meet 2703.
And, you know, being an innovative webinar, the two key points I think I'd like to reiterate: universal end clamp, one tool. That is so strong.
So as we look at this product, this is a cross-section that we're viewing here. As we start at the top, we have our universal end clamp. And then we have a custom nut, which enables all the different heights or thicknesses of the panels. We have our spring. This spring underneath either the mid clamp or the end clamp keeps those clamps in the up position, ready to receive the solar panel. So you're not fighting with the clamp, putting it up and trying to stick the solar panel underneath. We have the platform. The platform is where the solar panel will actually sit. We have the long screw there, 4-inch long Q20 screw. That completes that whole adjustability for varying panel thicknesses and heights. Further down, we have the pedestal. The pedestal, as you can see there, has two grooves. One would be for grounding lugs. The other would be for mounting your microinverter or your power optimizer. You can mount it right there on the railless device as if a rail was in place. We have our Q20 north-south braking screw there, So as you make your adjustment, get those front edges lined up, you're able to stop that movement by just turning that screw. This whole thing is on the slider, which allows you to slide the north-south. And finally, at the bottom, we have our base. What's cool about this system is that it all comes assembled as you see it here. Well, not the cross section. You'll get the whole thing. But it all comes assembled because what we do is that we swage the ends of that base so the slider can never be removed. You won't be dropping parts while you're on the roof. It's all one piece to you. Finally, on the left-hand side, we have a half 20 threaded custom screw. And on the top of that half 20 is a quarter 20 hex head. So we wanted a large bearing surface for the platform and for the pedestal for the solar panels to ride up and down on. This is what you would turn for that vertical adjustment. We wanted that nice strong screw there, but we also wanted to make sure that you had one tool to do the entire installation, and that's why we decided to go with a custom part there. As we look at the overall sizes of our railless system, there on the left you see that it's 7.4 inches wide. From the place where you would attach the solar panels and finally decide on what height it happens to be, from that surface, top of your solar panels, down to get to the adjustment screw is an additional 0.9 inches. So it's not a deep socket that you'll need. Any extender will work. This is real easy stuff. We looked at how easy this would be for the installer to install with the tools that he already has. There's nothing new that you have to go and buy. In your toolbox, you have these tools to make this work. One of the other things that we looked at was how far the microcontroller was going to be off the roof. The farther the microcontroller is off the roof, the more efficient it's going to run. It doesn't like the heat. It doesn't like the leaves that build up if you have it right there next to the roof. So on the platform there, you'll mount the microcontroller at 3-inch minimum, 4-inch maximum off that roof surface. As we look at our installation, this is as simple as 1, 2, 3. We're looking at a mid-clamp here with the first panel installed. You would go ahead and install that panel on the upslope edge. You would then, step number 2, tighten the mid-clamp. And then step number 3, you would install at an angle your solar panel and snap it into place. There is no need to reach over that panel, reach down slope to tighten up the mid-clamp. That's already been done with your step number 2.
Yeah, so no more fingerprints on the glass, no more reaching over and potentially putting too much pressure on the glass, creating a microfracture or damaging cells. It's hands-free at that point.
That's right. And to minimize the number of penetrations, we have our splices. These are the splices that would give you longer spans and fewer penetrations. We have the floating splice as well as a splice with an adjustable roof support foot to it. And of course, we have our span charts. These are the span charts that you'll find in the installation guide as well as you'd find them online. And the reason that I put them here in this particular presentation is that this span chart is different than our rail span chart. Because this is a railless system, we had to develop our own, a different span for each one of these systems. So you want to take a look at that.
Now let's talk about some online resources. I just would like to say that we've got some very cool online tools on the way. We are going to launch here a pitched roof configurator, a flat roof configurator, and ground mount configurator. Now, talking about innovation, this is the coolest part, I think, of this whole presentation just about. We have a mobile-friendly configurator, the first one.
Yes.
That I know is out there. You're going to be able to be out in the field and use your smartphone and go into our configurators and be able to use those out in the field. If you're talking to a customer and you wanted to do a quick write-up and get a BOM, put in your solar panel type, your orientation, color racking, This will create a detailed BOM for you, and then it'll spit out a PDF report emailed right to your inbox.
Right, and you can save those projects on our website, come back to them anytime you need to. But this is a great way to get started. You're in the field, you're talking to the customer, you can get the details down, everything's right there, and you can use your mobile device.
And Roland, thank you for letting me check out the new pitched roof configurator, because it is a new version to an existing one. So if you've used our existing configurator, this new one is amazing.
You're going to love the new one.
It is awesome. Seriously, folks, check it out as soon as you can. So engineering and technical support, I myself have hundreds, thousands of drawings on my desktop that if you've got a project and you want to share it with me and get it quoted up, I'll probably have a drawing ready to go that's going to fit your project. And if not, we'll have it redlined, project specific, and we can go out and get a stamped drawing for you. We have wet stamp drawing availability. We have those configuration tools and calculators that we were just talking about. Custom racking, that's going back to the head scratcher, the napkin. Somebody's got something super custom, like the decking application. We can do it. We here at Sunmoto are nimble enough that we can create some nice custom designs. And all that wrapped up together into a pretty little bow is that superior technical support. That's everything that we've talked about here. So I'm very proud. 6 years at this company, this great company of Sunmoto. Our website and our web presence has really stepped its game up. Every documentation, catalog, manuals, guides, app notes, promo sheets, white papers, everything on our website is so current. If there was a change in a part or language or anything within any of our documentation, it is up that day, that hour. So you can count on going to our website and having the most current information. Matter of fact, Roland and I, that's our source for information.
That is correct. We keep our website up to date so much that engineering uses it as a resource. Instead of going to our own file server to grab drawings, it's like we know it's on the website and it's easy to find, so we go there.
That's it, folks. So as a wrap-up here, the summary, we're all about innovative and cost-effective racking solutions. Get you on and off that roof as quick as possible. Superior engineering and technical service. Everything we're talking about from the configurators, from Roland, from myself, drawings, redlining, stamping. Continuous improvement and new product development. Innovations, that's the 20 patents that we have going on. That's getting the feedback from folks like you and us refining our own products and finding other uses for our existing products and other applications. It's all about you out there, the installer. We want your life easier. We want the value to be there for you. Now, I think what we could do is open this up to some questions. And I think we're going to let maybe SPW take over for a moment.
Yep. All right, so a couple of questions have come in. If you have any other questions, please submit them through the Q&A widget. So the first one is, which mounting system would you recommend for bike shelter applications?
I'd probably think the residential carport. I don't know. What do you think, Roland?
Yeah, the residential carport would certainly work.
Okay. The next question was, does water come through the panels on the awning?
So for the awning system, we do have a extrusion that you can put in between each one of those awnings. So that's more custom work that has to be done on the steel installation side. There are also gaskets and tapes available that are off the shelf. So there are a variety of ways to prevent that water from going in between those panels.
Next question, do you have both landscape and portrait options for the new Easy awning?
Yes, absolutely. That will work for portrait or landscape, definitely, and 60 or 72 cell modules.
Yeah, one of the things about that particular kit is that if you want to do a custom angle, you can do the modification in the field. You can cut and drill in the field for whatever angle or customization that you want. And we'll help you with that. We'll provide documentation that will show you how it should be done, but we won't do it here. Our goal was to come up with a standard kit, a low-cost solution for the masses, and then any custom work can be done out in the field.
The next question is, can you adjust the tilt angle on the awning system?
Yes, I think I just answered that. That can certainly be done. It's adjustable in the field. You would adjust it, the customer would adjust it. We would provide you with drawings and guidance, but that's something that we would want you to do, not for us to do here in our shop.
Okay, the next question is, will I see these new products at Intersolar?
Yes, absolutely. Good question. We will have a booth there as well as all these new innovative products, multiple Sunmoto associates that can help answer any questions. You can touch, feel, smell all these parts and pieces, and we'll just have a great chat.
Okay, another question is, when will you debut the SunDock Railless product?
That's looking like Q3.
For the actual installation, although we are looking for people to sign up for betas now.
Yes.
We'll do some beta installs to make sure that it's right for the masses. It will be shown at Intersolar.
Yep.
So you'll get a chance to take a look at it, but for the full release, that'll take a little longer just because we want to make sure we get it right.
But with that said, we are looking for beta tests. So if you're interested, you have a good roof condition that's going to really lend itself to the railless, let us know, and we will be a part of that system design, engineering, and documentation with you.
Okay, the next question is, what is the standard tile in the awning system?
The standard, I think they meant tilt. I think that is pre-kitted to a 25-degree tilt.
All right, that's all the questions we have time for today. If you have any additional questions or we didn't get to yours, please feel free to contact our presenters on your own. Again, this webinar will be shared with all the registrants so you can view it again at your convenience. I'd like to thank Roland and Brandon again for being here and Sunmoto for sponsoring today's webinar. And thank you to everyone in our audience for participating today. I hope you enjoyed our presentation and we invite you to join us for more Solar Power World webinars. Thanks, everyone.